We're just about a block up. We were recently relocated by police, telling us it is a much safer location to be here behind the police command center. We are right next to KIPP DC here on Benning, and in the 4700 block of Benning Road. We are about 3.5 blocks away. I would say 3 away from the scene. We know that 3 officers were shot earlier today, was hurt. Let's listen to sound from DC Police Chief Pamela Smith from earlier today.
At this time, the individual remains barricaded inside the residence. This remains an active situation, and the individual has continued to fire from that location. We are asking everyone to please stay out of this location until we are able to apprehend the suspect.
Okay, so that was Chief Smith telling everyone that this is still an active scene, and we are all standing by for more information, hoping that police will talk to us and give us an update. That's the very latest here from the scene. Back to you in the studio.
Checking in with you. Thank you. Right now, let's check in with our Marcella Robertson. She's by KIPP DC, where the school right now is on a secure alert.
Right, Marcella, you saw those students being escorted by police early this morning. We just saw a student making their way into the school right now. What more can you tell us?
Yeah, guys, I mean, we have been here in this area of 46th Street and Benning pretty much all morning, and it has really been a sight to see as you are seeing these kids early this morning. This barricade situation happening right outside of their school, essentially, and those students being escorted by police officers. We saw them one by one as the officers were taking them inside the school. As you mentioned, this school here, KIPP DC, is on a secure mode right now, essentially a lockdown situation. I spoke with a mother, and this was really striking to me. There were at one point there was a few people gathered outside here. They weren't able to get back into their apartments. And I thought that she was one of those people, and I went up to her and I spoke, because the people eventually went back into their homes, and I said, you know, what are you doing out here? And she told me that she had 3 kids that were inside of KIPP. She had dropped them off. She heard the gunshots early this morning as she was getting the kids ready for school, and when she came over here to drop the kids off, she was very surprised to see the amount of police officers out here, the police presence, and she said all of that just scared her, and she stood by that fence and said that she wasn't going to leave until she made sure that her babies were safe. An officer reassured her that they were safe inside that school, but she says she was either going to wait for this situation to resolve itself or wait until her kids are dismissed. So you just see the impact there. How scary this is for a lot of parents who have kids inside KIPP here. There are people who live in the area. This is certainly impacting the community out here today. Of course, Valentine's Day, we have seen just about 20 minutes ago, there was a parent that dropped off a box of Valentines. We saw Valentine's balloons as some of those kids were being dropped off. So it really just gives you a sense, an idea of they are trying to have a normal day inside here as all of this is still going on out here. I spoke with a PIO from MPD about 30 minutes ago. They said they were hoping to give us another update here shortly, and said at this point it's still ongoing, and they have been trying to make contact with that suspect inside the home. Back to you.
Marcella, thank you. And to her point, you know, you think of the parents and the students. It's
right.
Valentine's Day. It's supposed to be happy. And she did touch on this, but we have got Garfield Elementary on H Street Southeast and Plummer Elementary School on Texas Ave Southeast placed on lockdown, in addition to KIPP, which is on that secure alert.
And the good news in all of this is that we've not heard of any parents or any children that have been involved in the situation as well. Certainly some good news there, as we know that this investigation continues. We head now to Washington Hospital Center in Northeast Washington, where the injured officers are being treated.
Our Leslie Moreno is there. And Leslie, what can you tell us at this point?
Hey guys, yeah, I can tell you it's been a busy morning here outside the hospital. We've seen police vehicles coming in and out here all day. We've been camped out here outside MedStar for several hours now. This is where those 4 officers are currently being treated here. We're told 3 of those officers were rushed here after they were shot. We're told the officers were shot in the hand, in the foot. 1 officer was shot more than once, unclear exactly how many times, but we do also know that that fourth officer was injured. He was not shot. They were injured. All of this happening at around 7:30 this morning as officers were assisting the Humane Society with an arrest warrant at a home in Southeast. We're told officers tried making contact with that man inside the home. The man refused to come outside and fired at those three officers. We've been listening in all morning to witnesses saying they saw those officers on the ground bleeding this morning. We also spoke here with a representative just about a couple hours ago from the police union. He was very outspoken about the lack of officers being an issue and the lack of laws to protect officers. The rep also making sure he's telling us that despite all of this, the officers are in good spirits and will make a full recovery. Take a listen to what he had to say.
Just came out of the hospital. We spoke with all three officers. One officer was struck twice. Luckily, his ballistic armor absorbed both of those rounds. The other two officers were struck in the lower extremities. Pretty serious injuries, but non-life threatening, thankfully. I mean, I'm sure they'll have some recovery time, but likely be on the street sooner than later. So we're thankful for all that.
And important to mention that, you know, when serving these sort of arrests, officers never really know what they're going into. So again, the representative there saying, you know, he's thankful these injuries were non-life threatening. Again, they are expected to make a full recovery. Family has been notified and they will be okay. Guys.
All right, we'll be checking in with you for updates. Leslie, thank you. And I did want to mention, you know, we heard the D.C. union say very pointedly, like, look, they said City Council needs to wake up. And they said the crime stats aren't going to change. Greg Pemberton, who she was just referencing, blamed City Council for creating an environment where he said criminals face no consequences. So I expect we'll hear more from him throughout the day.
Absolutely. But we know that this is sort of something that's been echoed around law enforcement agencies all around the region, particularly in Prince George's County as well. So this is something that they're going to be looking at specifically. How do the laws keep up with the current trends as it relates to crime in our area? What's interesting is that in the midst of all of this right now, we still have police negotiators that are trying to get the now suspect out of the house and probably disarm him, given what we've seen today, which is no doubt a very tense situation that's happening at this point.
Certainly active, and they've got the negotiators, to your point, trying to find some kind of a peaceful resolution, and that is happening as we speak. All
right, well, in the last 10 minutes, D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser spoke about the injured officers.
It happened while the mayor was at an unrelated event. Take a listen.
So earlier today, our officers were responding, they were delivering a warrant, because that's their job. They show up every single day to do their job for DC, don't they? Let's hear it for MPD. And sadly, in the course of doing their job, somebody discharged their weapon. 3 officers were shot, taken to local hospital, and the chief has already checked on the officers. I will be checking on the officers, and I'm pleased to say that we think they're going to be just fine. But it goes to show we're hiring the best of the best police to make sure that as a community, that if we see something wrong, that we're calling on MPD, because MPD is going to show up for us every single time.
All right, so in contrast to what we heard the union say, which is, hey, we can't retain officers, they're getting shot at. We heard our chief investigative reporter, Eric Flack, say 379 police officers were shot at in the line of duty, and we have the mayor, you know, kind of articulating back, here's what we need to do, and this is where we stand. It's
interesting because we've seen certainly this crescendo of crime taking place since really the beginning of the pandemic, and it's really escalated over the past 3 years. Some improvements here and there, depending on where you look at, but the statistics have been relatively consistent. And what we've yet to get in all of this is a symptom. What is contributing to this sort of moral decay and this belief amongst some that the use of guns in this inappropriate way is justified and necessary? And I think that is the issue that the city council and other elected leaders are having to figure out right now. How do they address the core of the problem?
Certainly, and to your point, you know, the larger context here is we're hearing the conversation shift from, you know, what happened to how do we stop this? Where do we go? You know, we heard Matt Gregory speaking with one of the neighbors, Mr. O'Neill. I know you and I were listening to this. O'Neill Morris, he said he's lived in this neighborhood for 17 years, and he got really emotional when he was talking about the violence this morning, and it kind of drives home the point of these are people's lives, these are people's neighborhoods. Children could have been impacted this morning, so tough situation all around.
Yeah, we all share responsibility in this. All right, well, you can expect more from WUSA9 on this breaking news. For updates anytime, download the WUSA9 mobile app to your phone and watch us anytime for free on WUSA9 Plus and your streaming app.
WUSA9 Weather Watch is sponsored by Morgan & Morgan.
All right, we're on the Weather Watch. It is a chilly but somewhat warm Valentine's Day.
I was going to say, you don't want a frosty Valentine's.
Not at all.
No, meteorologist Caitlin McGrath is tracking our next round of snow as we head into the weekend. Caitlin?
Yeah, you guys, this weak little system has really started to take shape just in the last 24 hours. So here's what we're talking about in terms of that snowfall potential for Friday night into Saturday morning. Snow developing generally after 9 o'clock Friday night, but tapering off by 9 a.m. on Saturday. This is a really quick hitting system, and we're looking at a pretty widespread 1 to 2 inches of snow likely with some higher totals possible. Now, what we're watching is referred to as an Alberta clipper, and these weather makers get their name because they originate around Alberta, Canada, fly along the jet stream. The thing is, they typically lack moisture. That's why we're not talking about any significant snowfall totals, generally minor accumulation. As that Alberta clipper flies through, it's going to bring in much colder air and blustery conditions as we look ahead toward the second half of the weekend. But right now forecasting a widespread 1 to 2 inches of snow, some locally higher totals possible, but all in all a generally low impact storm that will fly through Friday night into Saturday. We'll have much more coming up after this short break.
We're staying on top of that breaking news out of Southeast Washington. D.C. police say 3 officers were shot while serving an arrest warrant for animal cruelty. It happened on Hannah Place near Benning Road.
We have several crews on the scene as we speak. That includes our Delia Gonsalves. And Delia, the scene is changing by the minute. What can you tell us?
Certainly, Simone. We're here back live on 46th and Benning, and we're about 4 blocks away from that scene, but it is still a very active situation. You can see the police command post and a number of police personnel here. I counted at least 30 cruisers earlier today. I saw an armored vehicle, agents with the ATF here as well. As I mentioned, we are about 4 blocks away next to KIPP DC here, 4 blocks away from that scene on Hannah Place. Police trying to serve that warrant today, assisting the Humane Rescue Alliance in serving that warrant and related to animal cruelty. You know, you talk to police officers, they say they never know what to expect when they they issue these warrants, and it is among the most dangerous parts of their job. The suspect at that point started firing, and that's when this massive response all descended on this area. I talked to neighbors who live here who say, listen, we unfortunately see this kind of violence every day, not to this magnitude, but I talked to a mom, Kiana Brown, who lives nearby. She was dropping off her child at KIPP DC school here nearby. She's a preschooler. Let's hear what she had to tell me earlier today. Been out here since. What do you think of it all?
I mean, I see it all the time, every day.
Not this big though.
This big. Well, not this big. It's normally not this big, but I see a lot of police action every day. It's not nothing under the norm.
That's not good.
Not good at all, and not this big a turnout. Like I said, we don't get this big a turnout for when it's something happening to like the pedestrians that out here. It's more like when it happened to the police officers, we get this type of turnout. You don't get this type of turnout when it happened to the pedestrians out here.
And listen, for as much as we're talking about the trauma that many of these young people, these students probably experience trying to get to school on Valentine's Day, perhaps with their Valentines and flowers and balloons, preparing for a good day at school, to see all of this activity, let's not forget that so many of our neighbors and too many of our communities are seeing this type of trauma every day. And so certainly we are hoping this will come to a peaceful end, but we will remain here on the scene until police can give us an update into what happens with this barricade situation as they continue to try to speak to the suspect who's barricaded inside that home. That's the very latest from the scene. Back to you in the studio.
Delia Gonzalez reporting live for us this afternoon. Delia, thank you so much. We're going to be staying on top of all of this breaking news all day. For updates online, on air, you can find them on our WUSA9 mobile app. You can also stream us for free on WUSA9 Plus.
WUSA9 Weather Watch is sponsored by Morgan & Morgan.
We did just want to say a happy Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
We know a lot of people are looking forward to it, and we got some sunshine. Walked outside.
Yeah.
Is that your gift?
That's my gift to you. That and lots of love every day. We do have some nice sunshine, but it's chilly and blustery. So if you're stepping outside, you do want a heavier jacket. But you guys, I want to get to the details on that snow that we're tracking for Friday into Saturday morning. It is not going to be a lot. And honestly, the timing pretty ideal. Late Friday night into early Saturday morning. Hopefully you don't have to be on the road early Saturday. We're not talking about much. A general 1 to 2 inches of snow. Up to 3 is possible, but not looking super likely right now. There's just not a lot of moisture associated with this quick moving system. So let's time it out here using Futurecast, starting with Friday morning. Most of Friday looks really nice. We have nice sunshine through the middle part of the day, clouds starting to thicken up as the sun sets, and then generally after 9 o'clock we see this snow develop by the time you're checking in with Topper at 11 p.m. Still only seeing that snow just crossing east of the I-81 corridor. Most of this will happen overnight. This is 3 a.m. on Saturday, and hopefully if you can sleep in a little bit, most of this will be out of here by the time you even wake up. I think by 8-9 o'clock already pushing east of the 95 corridor. So today it is blustery and cool, but we've got some nice sunshine to enjoy. Tomorrow we will have clouds increasing, a spotty shower possible late Thursday night, generally after the sun sets. We'll watch for that little bit of snow Friday night into Saturday morning, and the rest of the forecast looks quite nice. We'll be right back after this short break.
Over to Prince George's County now, where police have released surveillance video related to last week's killing of a 2-year-old. Investigators say this video shows 2 persons of interest. It's from 1 week ago today, the day before the deadly shooting in Langley Park. They're seen arriving at a 7-Eleven in Silver Spring in a Ford Explorer. That's what you're watching. Police say that's the same SUV the murder suspects used to flee the scene of Thursday's shooting. A 2-year-old Jeremy Bocaceres was killed. His mother was wounded. Police have already arrested 2 men in this case, but if you have any information, please contact police. D.C. police say a series of robberies at a Walgreens in Chinatown. Thieves had inside help. Police say the same location has been hit once a month since last July. Police have arrested store manager Michael Robinson, his nephew Gianni Robinson, and an accomplice, Kamayana Williams. Investigators say they're responsible for as many as 7 robberies at the same Walgreens on 7th Street in Northwest. And the most recent was this past Sunday when Williams was shot by store security, which then led to these arrests.
Well, you may have a little trouble finding a ride to or from your Valentine's date. Thousands of Uber, Lyft, and food delivery drivers are planning to walk off the job today. In addition to their concerns over pay, drivers are concerned about their safety and want companies to take action. There have been a lot of social media posts about this Valentine's Day strike. As a result, drivers nationwide are planning to turn off their apps. The DMV Drivers Alliance are holding a press conference right now about its demands at Reagan National Airport. That's at Terminal 2 at the North Terrace. After the drivers speak and share their piece, they will head to Gravelly Park, turn off their rideshare apps, and join a caravan throughout the city. Stay with us. A final check of the forecast after this. All right, don't forget, today is a day of love.
Day of love, Valentine's Day.
Yes.
And we got the
Spread lots of
sunshine.
love.
We love
do.
it.
It is a nice day to get outside. It's going to be a little blustery and chilly, especially if you've got a date tonight. Temperatures will be falling through the 40s. Tomorrow, mostly sunny start, but clouds increase with a shower after sunset. And then Friday night into Saturday morning, we're watching a little bit of light snow. 1 to 2 inches looks reasonable right now. And then the rest of the weekend looks quite nice with sunshine, chilly temperatures, blustery wind. Next week, though, 50 and sunshine. Not too shabby.
Could this be the end of the snow?
I don't think so.
No,
Winter is still young.
Okay.
That's because you love winter.
All right, we did want to note we are going to continue to follow the developing news after 3 officers were shot in Southeast D.C.
Yeah.
We're standing by for a press conference.
Yeah, our coverage continues on our mobile app and our website, WUSA9.com. Have a good one.